Yo, what's up? This is Splendid Radio on Farside TV with Zephyr. Um, the co-host Jeremy Scippio has some big things going on right now. So today's interview is just going to be with me and Zephyr, and we about to get it popping. So, what city did you grow up in?
I grew up in. I originally grew up in Oceanside, California, for like most of my life. I think up until 13, and then I moved to Montgomery County, Maryland, like Silver Spring, for the rest
Okay,
of it.
okay. So when you started to gravitate towards music, was it a California influence or you more or less came into your own after you moved to Maryland?
Um, I definitely in California. I was a dancer. Like I was always with music. I was like on like a little dance team and all that. But when I moved to Maryland was when I really started to I got into producing, like just making beats and all that. And after that I just started going into the art of it and all
Okay.
that.
So uh I'm about to spin the record back real quick one time on them. So basically, your father is a comedian.
Yes, he is.
Okay. Ebro. You know what I'm saying? Ebo. Ebo. Yeah, I
Not
killed his
Ebro.
name. You know what? When I interviewed him, we had that conversation. I kept looking at his
Yeah.
name, and that's how I kept it all together, Ebo. But the funny thing about it, I don't think he discussed you a little bit
Yeah.
on air, and he was talking about how awesome he thought you were and whatnot. But when we were off air, he was just like, yo, man, my son, like, check him. And I was like, okay. And then a couple days after the interview, he hit me and he said, he sent me the SoundCloud. And I've been, dude, I like literally, I leave my house hella early. I come home late. I'm just grinding. And then Jeremy hit me last week, and he didn't tell me whose son you were, but I just
Yeah.
went to the SoundCloud and I started listening to the music. And I was like, man, he's not that bad. You know what I'm saying? He's what the music of today is. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? From the levels of the production all the way down to your rapping. So I was like, okay, it comes full circle. I wasn't supposed to listen to it back then because my
Yeah.
mind, I was busy, my mind just racing or whatever. So I had a chance to actually just kind of like sit with it and go through your SoundCloud page and whatnot. So when was the first time you heard hip hop?
Um First time I heard hip hop was probably like most likely either 2011 or 2009, depending. And it was probably Lil Wayne or Soldier Boy. Those were my two big influence on what my introduction to hip hop was. So
Okay.
like with Soldier Boy, definitely his loudness and just how he carries himself. You might not see it in my music right now, but definitely that's like how I want to go forward with just how like extravagant his stuff is.
So Lil Wayne is definitely a larger artist than Soldier
Hmm.
Boy, but take the fame, take the catalogs away, you stick them next to each other. Who you think
Who do I think would like win in a whole battle?
who's more dear to your heart?
Who's more dear to my heart? It'll definitely be Lil Wayne because
Okay,
that's a person I listen to a lot more than Soldier Boy. I think Soldier Boy was just my introduction, and then Lil Wayne was just my like, oh, I like this genre. This is what I like to
mm-hmm.
make and listen to.
So who would you say is the first rapper that inspired you?
First rapper to inspire me would probably be Tyler the Creator. Definitely
Okay,
his older stuff. I think is what made me want to get into skateboarding and to get into music, like
yeah.
to start producing heavy.
What people don't understand about Tyler is that even though it looks very organic, there was a plan behind all of that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
and it looked, it looked as if it was organic, but it was definitely larger heads, larger influence, larger power, putting the collection, which was that it was brilliant. It really was brilliant, him having like a huge crew the way that he had the crew, and then everybody kind of having their own thing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And it wasn't like one person, like I won't say Tyler was larger than everybody. I'll say he was just who was pushed out in front of you first.
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But it was like, man, everybody out of their crew was kind of, they were kind of dope in their own right.
For real. Like also a person who like inspired me with my lyricism, yeah. But would definitely be Earl and Doom. So like
Okay.
yeah, like from that whole circle, Odd Future, Earl would be the inspiration for my lyricism.
Okay. Definitely dope. Definitely dope. Um, it's a trip. Doom is definitely one of my favorite rappers. I would say my musical taste is kind of like all over the board, but I would
Yeah.
say out of my top two rappers, it would definitely be like E40 and Doom. I would say that. And something crazy. I actually had this kind of fantasy of what it would be like to have an E40 and Doom album.
Yeah, I did like a Doom, but like probably with me. Like how would I try to interject something that I would create to fit his style or his nature? And I think that would be
uh,
pretty fun.
oh yeah,
Like
he definitely.
I really wish I could have worked with him.
I had a buddy who had kind of explained his process a little bit to me, and said that he put like effort into everything, even like writing the lyrics down in his book, like even how he wrote the lyrics down in his book and whatnot. So
Mm.
he was, definitely someone who didn't just luck up and become that, you know. So about how old were you when you took rapping seriously?
Um, Probably 16. Yeah, 16 years old was when I started rapping seriously. 14, 15 was when I was producing music and just getting into beat making. But 16 was when I started to dive deep into that.
So what made you want to start making beats?
Um, I think around the time I really don't know. I think it was a YouTuber I was watching at the time, and he had music on the side. His name was Joji,
Mm-hmm.
and I was listening to his music and he had it on SoundCloud, and I was like, dang, I really want to get deep into making this type of lo-fi hip hop type beats. And then I just asked my mom to legally get FL Studio, and
Okay.
we got that. And I've just been producing on that ever since.
It's so funny. I was going to ask you that because a lot of the younger cats, they kind of, well, I won't say younger. I'll say at the time, from the window of time you're telling me that you're starting production,
Yeah,
like Fruity Loops was kind of like the SB 1200 or the MPC, the cats that were producing like in
exactly.
86, 87, 88, 89. That was kind of like the situation. And so,
A lot of the people around me are definitely akin to producing on like a lot of the hip hop artists producing
okay,
on FL Studio.
okay. Have you ever tried the machine or the MPC or the
I
SP12?
really want to try that. I really do. Like I want to see how making like those type of beats or even like the beats I make now on that would sound like, because it's a lot more organic and like an instrument than how automated FL Studio is.
Mm-hmm. So when you started producing music in junior high or when you 15, 16, whatever, were you producing it for yourself? Were you producing it for your homeboys? What was the
Mainly for myself. Like it was a good way to vent like just how I was feeling at the time and just put whatever creative like pent up whatever creative thing I had in my mind and just be like, what would this sound like? This beat's kind of funny. Let me throw it together. It was mostly probably funny stuff at the time.
Man, you don't realize how privileged you got it, man. Like,
For real.
like, so 86, 87, 88, 89, you could do pre-production stuff, but like, if you record it on a 4-track, it really sounded like a 4-track. You know what I'm saying? And for you, you have FL Studio. You don't need Pro Tools, which Pro Tools was like thousands of dollars, and to get somebody who knew how to work it was like hundreds of dollars an hour at one time until it kind of like dropped down. And then it's kind of like there was just the cost to make music slowed down the amount of people that were making music. You know what
and
I'm
with
saying?
like with how easy it is to access it, and how easy it is to get knowledge online. Like all I did when I first started was just search up how to use FL Studio, how to do a simple 4/4 hip hop beat pattern, do this, all that was just like that, which
You
made
got
me
the
get
cheat
it
code. You
really
got
easy.
the cheat
Yeah,
code, man. You got the cheat code.
exactly.
So, who's your favorite producer that doesn't use FL Studio? Like. Okay, so with you liking, so your musical kind of like your inspirations and everything started as Soldier Boy and Lil Wayne. Are you still able to appreciate the Pharrells and the Timberlands and like all
Definitely.
the layering and bringing live musicians in and all that kind of stuff?
I
Or
definitely want to dive deep into that when I get more access to those like instruments. Like if I can get myself an MCP and just
MPC?
MPC,
Yeah.
and just be able to just produce on that, I will definitely go ham on that anytime I can. Just practice on that because I want to like make as much music as I can. No matter the genre.
Okay. All right. So, what was the name of your first rap crew or your first collective?
Um, I would say the first collective would be this little one called Visual Aid, but it didn't get as much stuff. But the first collective that I'm in right now is a bunch of like random people on SoundCloud called Love Scent,
Mm-hmm.
and like the leader, she's British,
Mm-hmm.
so she's in London, South London, and she created that and she put me in because she just saw how she just liked my music at the time.
So, how many people were in the collective?
It's a lot, like 20. Collectives work really different than they used to, where as of online, you can get hella people just from random states and area into like one big group and just meld and mesh their own personalities together like quick. As of like how it used to be, you had to just work locally most of the time to
Mm-hmm.
find out them artists, but yeah, it's probably like 20 people in there.
So do you submit? So you submit your music to her, and then she, or like, how exactly does the whole collective format work?
Um, we use Discord, and what happens is there she'll recruit producers, she'll recruit artists to rap on the producer's beats, and some artists will be artist slash producer like me, and art producers will submit beats into like the group chat, and artists will go and rap on those beats, and they'll get submitted onto the page. That's how most of the collectives work.
That's that, hey man. I mean, if it can work, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
exactly.
If it can work, that's dope. That's like it's kind of like the A&R aspect of being on a label without being on a label. And then having what was her name again?
Her name is Slits.
Spell it.
It's like Slitz.
Okay, Slits. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, so she's like the curator.
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That puts it together. So nah, that's tight. So out of the collective, who would you say has the most streams?
Uh, it's another artist. She's named Raygun.
Uh-huh.
She definitely has like the most streams. She's working with a lot of people. She's also from Maryland too, which is cool. And I think she's really close to getting big into the hyper pop side of things.
Okay. So I'm a dude not familiar with hyper pop. Break it
Yeah.
down. Break it down for
That's
us.
a really new genre. That's a really new genre. That's probably what I will be putting because most of the artists that I work with
Mhm.
are hyper pop artists. But like I guess the blanket term of what I'm under and how my music sounds is glitchcore. So
Okay.
that's what I'll be put under.
Okay. All right. So if we had to, is there someone that you could point to that's a popular artist that you could say has made a hyper pop song that we could look to so we could understand what?
A very popular artist right now, I guess that's called like the main person of hyperpop would probably be like 100 Gex. One of my friends also Midwest and Eric Doa. Those are pretty up there in that genre. Um, and then who else? Another hyperpop artist that's pretty big in the mainstream is Sophie. She was a big hyperpop artist.
Okay, cool. So what was high school like for you? You were in junior high school, you were making your beats, you were making your beats for yourself to rap on, maybe a couple of friends. You get to high school, how does that progress?
I was not. High school was not good for me. I was a lonely boy. I was very isolated. All I had was just my music and my skateboard. That's all I did.
Okay. Okay. So no collectives, no groups, no nothing like that
No,
in high
nothing
school.
IRL. Nothing. I didn't make really much friends when I came to Maryland. I was just mostly just dolo the whole time.
Use De La Soul, me, myself, and I on them.
Exactly.
So what was the first social media platform you used? Because one of the things that's interesting to me about you is you come from a time and space where like you were able to utilize technology where like say for instance if you predate yourself 10 years and you wanted to promote yourself or if, let's just say you wanted to make music, like I said, it would require studio time or
Exactly.
requiring somebody who had a pre-production studio where you could get all your ideas, all your concepts to and get very rough recordings of a song and then take it into the big studio where the producer could rough it out, track it. You'd have to rough it out, you'd have to track it, and then record it. And then, in order to get some exposure, you'd have to just do a million shows all over the place, or you'd have to, if you had some money or you knew someone who's willing to invest in you, they could get you a PR person. You know what I'm saying? To kind of push it. So to me, it's just really amazing how I've seen the progression of the MySpaces to the Facebooks to the Twitters to the Instagrams and all this, where people like could have nothing more than music and a personality and a will to do it, and it kind of equaled a person, you know, back in the day that may have had like a budget of thousands of dollars and, you know, a machine behind them, and then several attempts of someone willing to invest behind songs in order to try to gain traction to, you know, to get your thing going. So what was your path to social media with your music? Did it just start at SoundCloud, or were you somewhere before SoundCloud and then progressed into that?
Yeah, it definitely always started at SoundCloud because like I grew up like I got started making music off of Tyler the Creator, but when I started to delve into while I was making like music, I was listening to hella people onto the platform, which I was just like intrigued at the whole community of it and just wanted to start producing, putting my music on there and just getting into the community, seeing
Okay.
how that was go for me.
And then how did Facebook or Instagram ever kind of fold into it, or Instagram is just something you have just to kind of have to just kind of check out, or how did that?
Yeah, not a lot of people around me use Facebook for their music. At least like the bigger artists in the scene. A
Okay.
lot of people just either use Instagram or Twitter. That's all.
Okay. All right.
But
That makes
mainly Instagram. Instagram is definitely gonna help you out.
okay. So that's just when you have a project coming out, you shoot a video and then you throw clips of the video on there, or just basically by networking and DMing people you want to hook up with, or
Yeah, how it would work is like you would first like make a good like a good song, and then you would want to get another artist to hop on it, and you just network, yeah, like connecting with other artists to get onto that song, and that will help you get more followers off of that, and then you just do that over and over with bigger artists, and that'll help you get into a bigger spotlight. And like with the videos, I could just edit like a really quick little visualizer thing, and people will still really like it. Just something
Okay.
for people to gauge their mind to really quick so they can follow up on like, what is this sound? Let me hear this out instead of just like text.
Yeah, see, back in the day, man, a cheap video was like 50,000,
Yeah.
75,000, 100,000. You know what I'm saying? On a good day, you get somebody to say they could do it for cost of 50 or $60,000,
Damn.
and like not even really making any money off of it, but them hoping to do something really creative to get them up to the videos of the 200s, the 300s, the 400s, the 500s, you know.
Exactly. That's the cool thing with my community is that you would still have to have like a really good, well like shot music video to get hella recognition, especially in nowadays hip hop. Like you can't just record a video on an iPhone and think that's gonna do good. But like with my community, since it very like blew up during the pandemic, people couldn't go and record videos out in public. So it became popular to record videos on your phone, like or just very light, loosely edited, and
Mm-hmm.
just akin to what the culture we've been raised in, which is
Okay.
like very internet YouTube videos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just really changed with the environment that we've been brought up in.
Okay. So uh you said you got Lil Wayne, we got Soldier Boy, and the largest inspiration, again, once again, like the largest, who's larger than life to you?
Larger than life, I would say it would still be underground again. It would probably be this collective named LC. They definitely inspired me a lot with my music.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the reason why my music sounds like this today, with like heads like Zootsie, my friend Z, my bro Gammo. Them three are the main reason why my music sounds so extravagant and weird as it is right now.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm just trying to get a pulse, trying to get a gauge for it.
Yeah.
So old school to you.
Mm.
If you had to pick three old school OG rappers, who would be your three old school OG rappers?
Three old school. The ones that zing off my rip. I don't know if I want off my head. I don't know
Yeah.
if I count Doom as an old school.
Yeah, yeah, he's old
Yeah.
school. You
Yeah,
new school. So yeah, he
it
definitely.
would be Doom. Another one that just pops up off my head is Slick Rick. Another one, and then just
Okay.
Easy E. Those are my I think three favorite ones that are just pop off like off the top really quick.
Okay.
I really like.
Yeah. That's funny you talk about Easy E, man. I remember being in high school and going to a party at this racquetball club, and dope dope man must have just came out.
Mm.
And then I want to say they played it like 5 times in a row at that party. And it was amazing. And
Yeah.
a dance that just came out. I'm gonna date myself, called the Cabbage Patch. And I just remember sitting back and saying, dang, what is this music? And then it was a trip because even though the song was dope man, yeah, that's me. You weren't necessarily thinking drugs. It was like
Yeah.
the evolution of West Coast hip hop to just like those Dr. Dre beats and all that going
Very
on.
bouncy and all that.
And really, me just being in a party scene and just looking at it and saying, man, because with Run DMC and then the elder New York MCs and whatnot, it was a big deal, but you really didn't see like LA MCs like naturally just put it this way. I'll say people really didn't know who NWA at the party was like that. Like they didn't know who NWA was, but the song was just so dope. Like really, it was like a DJ breaking a song, and fools was just telling them like, "Yo, man, play that one more time."
Yeah.
Play it one more time. So that's cool. So tell me this. If you could have your perfect versus battle, who would be the artist?
Perfect versus battle. That's a thinker. I want to see what someone like. It might be unfair. It probably is unfair, but I want to see like someone who's right now. I guess like Lil Baby versus like freaking Biggie or Tupac. Someone who's really lyrical. I want to see what that would look like, even if it's just a slaughter show. I want to see what that would see.
That would be interesting.
And I want to see. I also want to see both verses in different times. Like, how would Tupac do now if he was set into this generation, and how would Lil Baby do now or then if he was set in that generation? How would people react?
Nah, that's a good one. That's a good one. But I'll say the one thing that I can say, a lot of people like you said, Da Baby or Little Baby.
Lil Baby.
A lot of people like both of the babies, but a lot of people like Little Baby. A lot, and it's crazy because it's like, you know, the older people, they're gonna say Tupac, Biggie, whatever. But I think that the music is different because you have Little Baby making songs that are like culturally relevant right now. But then you'd have to put them against Biggie and Tupac, where, man, they had party songs and anthems, man.
Oh, God.
And that was when, you know, man, I'm not saying that it don't happen now, but dudes would dance with girls at the party. You know what I'm saying? So that was part of the social.
They'll just start moving towards like, okay, yeah, I gotta do this.
Yeah, that was part of the social interaction, man. The way people, you know, shoot, man. It's so funny. I got a homeboy, and he has a cousin, and I was at this club at this sushi bar in Hollywood back. It had to be like 93, 94. And you know, by happenstance, somebody started. I don't think they were shooting inside of the sushi bar, but I think they started shooting outside of the sushi bar. And my homeboy's cousin had met this girl that night, and they was lovers lane kissing it while everybody was running, running from gunfire and whatnot.
It was 2 in the moment. Like, I gotta get this real quick.
It was 2 in the moment, but that was just, you know, shoot. That was just what it is. So no, I get it. But nah, I say the hip hop, the Tupacs and the Biggies was like a partying time of music that like reminisces a lot on that, on top of touching on cultural stuff or whatever. And then I would say that Little Baby, he probably makes music that just really sounds good to this generation. You know what I'm saying? For real. Like, but would two people dance to it?
I don't even know. It gotta really depend on a little bit. Yeah.
No,
it's really just for like, I'm driving my car mad as shit. Like, damn, he really saying some shit. Like, it really just gets you thinking.
Okay. So we're gonna go on. We're gonna move on to the next one. Your father's a comedian, pretty funny comedian. I called him a gatekeeper. He said he wasn't. I still say he is. I was introduced to him by co-host Jeremy Scippio. Had you ever thought about going into comedy?
I would say I wouldn't do stand-up. I don't know if I would do stand-up. I would definitely do some like funny videos or like really like sketches. I think that would be really fun because I also like to film a lot. So either doing something that's like comedy that either I direct or I'm in, that would be pretty funny.
So you seem pretty Instagram savvy and whatnot. One of the things I usually talk to guests about that are comedians is how, like, when the pandemic jumped off, so there's comedians that were putting in work before the pandemic jumped off. And then there's comedians that are stand-up, there's comedians that are online presence, the people that have an online presence, and then there's some hybrids that can kind of do both. With you, like, really being in Instagram, Twitter, like that, who would you say are like the top two people that you like that draw you to watch their sketches and they're like online comedy?
I said the top person right now, definitely. And I would just say for like most of the people on like Instagram and Twitter would be Drewski. Like that man is funny, and he really be having people laughing like hella. And for me, I think in my opinion, for the second person, oh, he's not on. He's kind of on Instagram, but he's mostly on YouTube. His name is Caleb City, and he really be having me just dying of laughter with some of his sketches because it's just so related to like video games and anime, which is something that I'm akin to.
Oh, okay. Are you familiar with Zacomo?
Zacomo?
You should check him out. He's a producer, and he's like, his whole situation is about, like, you know, very, very tightly tied to anime.
Yeah, I like that. I like when they do those weird little anime sketches and then like compared to like real life issues. That'd be getting me.
Did you watch the Boondocks at all? Get into that?
I watched it when I was little, but like when I was little, it was always great to me because I was just little. So, but I wanted to get way back into it because like it was funny as hell and it was speaking just some real shit.
Yeah. So your top 3 favorite albums?
Top 3 favorite albums. I will say right now in my state of mind right now.
Okay. Since there's a definite gap between our musical taste and everything.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna do nothing underground.
No. I want to preface it by saying this: your top 3 albums that you can listen to from start to finish.
That I could listen to from start to finish. All right, so definitely number 1 would have to be Tyler the Creator's Wolf.
Okay.
I know he would probably hate that people say that, but yeah, I can listen to that from start to finish just because of how story driven it is. Second one is kind of hard. Start to finish, it would probably be something like a Playboy Cardi album, like the Die Lit. I really like all the songs off of that. That man makes some good music despite it being weird. And my third one, that's a hard one. I don't know, because I'd be skipping some people's songs.
So tell me this: would it be fair to say that the climate has changed from people listening to albums and caring about listening to albums to more or less, we don't want to listen to a whole bunch of songs in a row, even though it could
Definitely.
be if it was a whole bunch of songs in a row? That's not what we want. What we want are hot singles. That's what
I see a lot of artists around me, or just in either like in the high end of the underground. They'll drop singles and they'll get like 500K or like damn a million. It'll do really good. Their videos will do super. They drop an album, thousand plays each track. Like it's not doing as good as it was supposed to do because like you really got to be strategic where you want people. You got to kind of play with the people like if they're children. You know what I'm saying? Like they have like a short attention span now, so like you really want them. You want to make them feel like, damn, I really should check this out. That's why sometimes albums are tied to controversies. Like they'll be like, what is this dude talking about? He said this man's name and on this song. Let me listen to this album to hear for it. So you got to get people to want to listen to it instead of be like, just I don't know. You got to really push them towards it.
Nah. What you're saying makes all the sense in the world. I feel there was a time where the climate and the culture was for listening to a whole album, but I have a friend who's in the music industry, Tajay from Souls of Mischief, and he, in one of his lyrics on a song that he did with Brown, he used a term called Jiffy Pop culture, and it really resonated with me because, you know, right now, like the old school cats, their thing is like, yo, man, we got to make a dope album. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, we gotta take this time. You know, we gotta get the concept. We gotta make a dope album. Where these younger cats, they're just like, man, we're gonna make a dope song, and then we're gonna make another dope song, and then we're gonna make another dope song, and you know, maybe that's just albums. If you're a Drake, I'll give you an example of something. So I have a buddy who works with Bruno Mars, and so we were talking about the song where Bruno Mars got sued, and it was like, you know, it was like they had like 20 different songs going on in it. That's an exaggeration, but it was like Uptown
super
Funk.
sampled.
It was Uptown Funk. Well, they didn't sample it, but they replayed it. But you definitely know that they were directly that, like, they didn't really change it. They just kind of put it into their song.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my buddy, and he told me, even with all the lawsuits and everything, he did incredible off of that song. And I was just like, man, that's just where we at. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if an artist puts out a song, like, albums are great in concept. They're great for maybe another, you know, another generation, or maybe they were great 10 years ago or something like that. But right now, with people's attention spans, because once again, you have FL Studio. Is that correct?
Yeah, FL Studio.
Man.
The amount of people just firing off songs like it's nothing.
Man, you don't have to, because, okay, so before, the rapper had to find a DJ, and if the DJ was fortunate enough, he could work with the producer, but then DJs start to become producers and whatnot. So it was just like so many steps if you rapped, unless you made your own music, which back then it wasn't about FL Studio and you can have a computer where you can make beats at Starbucks and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It was like you had to learn a machine, but that's dope. So with you, you're not even concerned about albums, huh? As far as making them for yourself.
I really love making projects that have a theme to them and just being able to have like a whole story going down them.
Okay.
But like, if I do drop something like that, I know it won't do as well if I just drop a single song like that just was made for people to just, let me put that on real quick. Oh my God, I love this. Next. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just what the people want. I gotta wait until I'm able to have my own like super following to just do those type of stuff, because people like there's some artists who are able to build like a cult following where they could just drop like a 50 song album and people will obey and listen to every single 50 song because that man has developed like stands. People just love his stuff, but I don't have that at the moment.
So right now, let's just say you chilling and you got some time. You're about to hop on the plane.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anybody's album that you would say, okay, I'm gonna listen to these albums while I'm on this flight or whatever? Or it will be more like my playlist is gonna be just a bunch of different artists, one song, maybe two songs at a time?
That's what I usually do, is have like a bunch of different artists like on a shuffle, because I just be liking hella tracks or something and then just shuffle it so I can just hear through them. But if I want to really diversify my taste in music, I'll put on some random genre, like either some alt rock, some jazz, bachata, and just put that on like and find an artist and just go through their catalog.
You said jazz, what?
I'll either listen to jazz or like bachata.
What is bachata?
That's like Dominican, what's that? It's that movement
Okay.
music.
All right, man. Nah, that's tight, man. I'm learning. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I'm from another way. That's what I'll say. Another way. So we almost up out of this pandemic right now. You were in the pandemic in Maryland.
Mm.
Where were you at when you first got the news that things were just really shut down?
I was probably just like in my bed if we're talking about like
At home.
accurate, but
So
like
yeah, so you're at home.
yeah, but when the news started going around, I was definitely in school, like just chilling. I was like, "Oh, that's pretty crazy. That probably won't even hit here." And then you get the two couple that went to Maryland off of the ship, and then it just started affecting Maryland. And I was like, "Damn, this is serious."
So there was a couple that came off of a ship
Yeah,
in Maryland, and
two old couples that came off of a cruise ship, and then just it started spreading off of them.
oh wow. And so how much time did you have before they told you, because that was your senior year, correct?
It
So how much
sucked so bad because around that time, I think we had a month before, I like a month before it started happening when we heard it. But I was just starting to get into a friend group, get like really locked in with people. Boom, the pandemic hit. I did not see those people ever again. It sucked
man,
really bad,
I
but
felt I felt for like, high school kids and all kids in school, because for me, high school and junior high school, after elementary, that's where you're just really able to be social. You know what I'm saying? And
exactly.
then you kind of like, you can connect with people based on music or based on, just whatever is going on at the time. And then you have classes with people who you wouldn't talk to in a million years if you didn't
Yeah,
have this same class, and you may have different political views, different ethical views or whatever, but based on this little common thing that you get from the interaction of school, you guys become cool, which it shapes social interaction. Like I feel like the kids where they had school taken away from them for like a year and a half, 2 years or whatever, it's whack because their interaction was pretty much like, social media. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
That was
That's also like a that's also how like the scene that I'm in really started like explode because it was just a whole bunch of kids
mhm.
just staying inside, only stuck to their computer or what they were using to make music, and just doing that 24/7 throughout the day, not being able to go outside and play with friends and stuff. They're just only doing that. So it really just gave rise to the popularity of that type of making of that type of music being made.
So what do you think was the pathway to you becoming part of this collective?
Um, I was there like before. I was like the pandemic didn't affect me because I was an isolated ass person. Like I was always just on my own. So when it hit everybody else, I was just like, damn, sucks,
I'm
don't
already an
it?
introvert. I'm
Yeah,
already an
I've
introvert.
already
I'm
been
to
through that.
myself.
It does not affect me. But when like during the time when I was heavily introverted, I was already online doing the same thing where it's just on computer, and that's where I found LC and just started following them and what
Mhm.
they did. And yeah.
The interesting thing is that like for me, I was a hustler before the pandemic. I was a hustler during the pandemic, not scared of learning new stuff,
Mm.
just like throwing myself into new stuff in order to, I guess, new trades, so to speak,
Yeah,
just like, what, you got to do something, you find a way, that, and that's pretty much, my level of work ethic is just kind of like, well, in a perfect world, things could be perfect, but we don't live in a perfect world. So you got to take what you
exactly.
got and you figure it out, you
Gotta
know,
find out a way.
figure it out. So what do you miss most about the post-pandemic times? Like your favorite part?
Um, like I said, I wasn't really doing much, but what I do
Man,
miss
you
the
had to
most
have
is
something you like.
yeah, what I do miss the most now wearing this thing 24/7 because it is uncomfortable. Like I can't lie. Like it's okay, but it's too much at sometimes, especially when I'm skateboarding somewhere. I'm heavily breathing in the mask, and it starts to get a little bit tiring. But it is what it is.
Well, they say in I think it's June 15th is supposed to be, or uh, well, the Splendid Radio DJ Augie I know he has a club that he's DJing, I believe, on the 19th. And I want not to confuse it, but I believe the 15th is when in California they're supposed to lift all the mandates and all that kind of stuff. And
Damn.
everything's supposed to
everything's so many people out.
Huh?
I said there's gonna be so many people out.
Oh man, they already out, man.
That's true. I can't even lie. I've been out a little bit.
Nah, it's not gonna be more. I mean, I'm sure it will be somewhat more, but put it this way: when the pandemic was in effect, like really just, you know, the freeways were barren, the streets were barren for the most,
like wasteland.
Yeah, and it's like, I would say probably for the last 2 months, once we like, I'll say maybe the ending of April and coming into May, it was pretty much summertime as far as the weather was concerned. And so my experience was when I am on social media, I see a lot of people having parties. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be clubs that people can go to, but people already been going to
people been going to anywhere that's like they can move.
Day parties, the whole, you know, the whole nine. So with that being said, I'm gonna hit you with the last one, man. From an introverted you know, point of view, where do you see the progression of social interaction in the next 2 years? Live social interaction.
Live social interaction
in the next 2 years,
like face to face.
Yep.
I think it will still be somewhat the same to how it is. Just definitely molded a lot different by how society is in the future. As neutral as that answer is.
Peep this. So, you know, I deal with, you know, doing shows and people doing shows, and I deal with promoters and all that kind of stuff. So about like 3 or 4 months ago, I was talking to one of my guys overseas, and he was like, well, you know, 2022 is going to kind of, you know, I think that things will kind of go strong and people are going to start booking shows, and, you know, we'll just kind of see where it goes. And I was like, yeah, you know, I could see that. But, you know, as far as people feeling comfortable being in open spaces and all that kind of stuff, I said, you know, I felt that things weren't going to be back to normal for, let's just say, another 3 or 4 years. That's what I thought. You know what I'm saying?
Same. I thought it was gonna be till like 2023.
But peep though, they've exhausted people getting these vaccines, and the crazy part about it is, now that I guess a lot of people are vaccinated, you have people comfortable enough to throw events again. You know what I'm saying? Like I deal with some comedians, and they're down in Atlanta wide open. You know what I'm saying? They're doing their thing. They're down in Austin, Texas, wide open. And I say all that to you to say, I took the long way around, but people are going to be doing what they were doing in about 2 or 3 months, but there's just going to be resistance, and it's going to be about them figuring out how to do like the big stuff that they used to do. But they're already like Coachella is already, you know, they're talking about their lineup and how they're gonna
already
do it.
Starting to get bought up.
But I'll tell you something crazy. They're also offering this, not Coachella, but I've seen a festival that offered discounted prices for people who are vaccinated. And then for people,
smart.
It's smart for people that want to get people vaccinated.
Yeah, it's smart for them.
Yeah, but I'll say they didn't even have to do that, man, because the fear of everything made a lot of people run to it. You know what I'm saying? To go and just get it. You know, I myself personally, you know, I like to see a couple other dogs in the fight, man, and just, you know, just see how it progresses. Which
exactly, that's how I'm doing right now. I'm not
with everything, I say with everything moving as fast as it's moving, we're gonna see, like, everything's gonna happen fast. Like, and it's crazy because I was listening to some talk radio yesterday, and they're talking about the economy bouncing back and all this, that, and the third. Like, imagine we didn't really have the concept of how much money is generated like in our economy or whatever. But we basically shut down for like a year and a half where, I mean, some people got money and some people, you know, got government money or just whatever. But for the most, there was people that didn't have any money and we didn't fall off the face of the earth. And then now that we're like barely opening up, I hear people talking about spending money every day. Like when I say people spending money, I'm talking about like investors and people that own companies and, you know,
Yeah.
stuff like that, where you would think like, okay, people are going to hold on to their money a little bit and just whatever. And they're like, nah, man, now's the time, you know?
New people to start selling to.
Yeah. Yeah. So with that said, man, I appreciate you this moment in time. You giving me props. Tell your pops I said what's up. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? When you holler at him, you want to give your social media and where they can find you?
Mainly just Instagram. Zephyr, Zephrxd.
Okay. And your SoundCloud?
My SoundCloud is also Zephyr, Zephrxd on there too. Same
All
thing on
right.
every other music platform.
Okay. And are you playing video games on Twitch?
No, I'm gonna get into that in the future. I'm definitely gonna get
Okay.
that. Might be one form or way of comedy I might be doing. I really like that.
Okay. That's tight. Well, nah, man, I appreciate you giving us this time and space. This has been Splendid Radio on Farside TV.